So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we are going to learn how to build AI powered financial analyst come advisor. Financial markets are constantly evolving and analysts are spending hours gathering data, running calculations and interpreting trends. But what if we could automate this process? What if an AI system could analyze stocks, track market movements and provide insights on demand? That's exactly what we are going to build in this video. In this video, we are going to break down how to create a tool use agentic AI system that acts as a financial analyst. We will explore its architecture, the tools it leverages, and the reasoning framework that makes it effective. And in just a few minutes, we will put it all together in a live demo so you can see this system in action. Now let's get started. So at the heart of this system is an agentic AI, an AI that doesn't just retrieve data, but intelligently selects right tools, interprets the information, and delivers structured insights. But before processing any request, the system performs a critical step. And what exactly it is? It is query validation. So if the query is relevant, the agent determines whether it's a broad market trend request or a stock specific inquiry. But if the query is unclear or invalid, the system doesn't proceed blindly. Instead, it guides the user to refine the request. That's why a well-designed agent prompt is crucial. It ensures that AI responds with accuracy and relevance before any tool is called. Now, once a query is validated, the system follows one of the two workflows depending on the type of request made by the user. If a user wants an overview of the market trends, the agent calls tools like the search web and get general market data. These tools gather real time information from financial sources, allowing the AI to highlight key movements, economic indicators, and sector performance. But what if the user requests insights for a particular stock? First, the system is going to validate the stock ticker to ensure it is correct. Next, it retrieves key financial metrics using get stock fundamental indicator matrix and get stock price matrix. And finally, the AI structures the insight covering performance trends, valuation ratios, and other indicators such as PE ratio, ROE, and earning growth. Now that's why this system goes beyond simple data retrieval. It transforms raw numbers into structured actionable insights. But an AI financial analyst is only as good as the data it relies on. That's why this system integrates multiple tools to ensure high quality real time insights. So now let's look at some of the tools which we are going to use to create this agent. The first tool we are going to talk about is Search Web. The Search Web tool is going to fetch the latest market trend and economic news. The second tool is Get Stock Fundamental Indicator Matrix. It provides key financial ratios like PE, ROE, and EPS. The third tool which we are going to utilize is Get Stock News. This tool is diligently going to extract relevant news articles for a given stock or market segment. And then comes Get Stock Price Matrix tool. This tool is going to retrieve historical price trends and volatility indicators. But accessing financial data isn't just about using the right tools. It's about connecting to the most reliable sources. That's why we integrate platforms like Yahoo Finance, Finviz, TMX, CBOE, and we are also going to use our open source system, which is OpenBB, ensuring our system works with accurate and up-to-date market information. So now let's look at how the AI determines which tool to use and when. So basically, the system follows a tool use agentic framework, a methodology that enables the AI to reason before acting. It applies React reasoning, combining logical decision making with dynamic tool selection. It evaluates the context before deciding which tool to call, ensuring efficiency and precision. This structured approach ensures that every tool invocation is necessary and that responses are both accurate and relevant. But there is one more challenge that every AI powered system faces, which is context limitations. LLMs have fixed context windows. If conversations go beyond a certain limit, the AI may lose important details. That's why we introduced a message trimmer. This component ensures that AI maintains relevant context without exceeding the model's memory constraints. This keeps responses coherent, focused, and contextually aware. And once all the necessary data is collected, the system structures its final response. So for general market trends, it provides an overview of key movements, trends, and economic indicators. And for stock specific insights, it delivers structured reports including financial health indicators, price trends, and recent news. And the result? A fully automated AI driven financial analyst capable of delivering meaningful insights in seconds. Okay, so now when we have understood how this whole system is going to be designed, its components, and the architecture of it, we are going to dive into the exact demo and we are going to see how exactly to make it up and running. So the first step to do that is going to be installation of the dependent library. So we'll install LangChain OpenAI, community version of that, Langgraph, and Yahoo Finance. So let's run this cell. So we have to restart the kernel. Let's comment this cell now. Let's rerun it. And then the next dependency which we have is OpenBB. So basically it's an open source framework which is going to help us connect to different finance APIs in a standardized manner. So let's look at the library once. I am into pypy.org and I'm looking at this library called OpenBB. So basically OpenBB is a platform which provides a convenient way to access raw financial data from multiple data providers. The package comes with ready-to-use REST APIs, and this allows developers from any language to create applications on top of OpenBB platform. So what we have done is we have just gone ahead and pip install OpenBB, and it generally installs all these dependencies which it has. So these are different providers: Bazinga, BLS, CFTC, EconDB, IMF, FMP. So some of these providers are free of cost. Some of them are actually paid. So we will look into it, which all providers we are going to use one by one when I'm going to explain you how to create these tools and which provider we are going to use to get what kind of information, right? Yeah, so let's go back to our notebook. Let's run this cell. It is going to install our framework, which is OpenBB framework. And I'm going to just comment this down and just rerun it. Okay. Now the next thing what we need to do is we need to get the API keys for 3 applications. So OpenAI key is going to help us connect to the large language model. OpenBB is going to help us connect to the financial APIs, and Tavily search is going to help us connect to the internet. So we need access to all the 3 API keys. So let's first see how to get OpenAI key. So I'm just going to go to this website platform.openai.com. And then we are just going to go to login. We can choose any of these methods for login. I'm just going to go ahead with Google. And then I'm just going to choose one of my email ID. And we are logged in to OpenAI environment. Now we have to just go to settings. And then we have to click on this API keys. And then we just need to create a new API key. Now let's name it Finance Bot 101. Okay. Let's copy this key and we'll go back to the notebook and we will run this cell. And it is going to ask for the OpenAI key to us. We are just going to enter that key here and press enter. Okay. So now the key which we have created is now being stored inside OpenAI key variable. The next thing is to get the key for OpenBB. For that, we can go to this website, myopenbb.co.login, and from here, I can just log in through different ways. So I can use, so basically we can use GitHub, Google or Discord. So I'm just going to go ahead with Google here. I'm going to use the same email ID for login. Now, once you're going to log in for the first time to this website, what you will see is there are two options available. One is OpenBB platform, another one is OpenBB bot. So OpenBB provides its own bot as well. Yeah, but what we want to do is we want to create our own bot using their platform. So we will just go to the platform. We'll go to personal access token and we'll create a personal access token for us. And then we can just view it in case we want to do that. But we'll just copy it and we'll go back, run this cell and place our token in this variable. So OpenBB pat is now storing the personal access token for OpenBB. Okay, so the next key which we have to get is for Tavily search. For that, I'm just going to click on this link and it's going to open a window for me. Let's click on this and we'll just go to login. I've already created some API keys here. Just to show you how to create it, I'm just going to create it again. Let's name it Finance API V2 and let's create it. Let's copy this key. We'll go back to the notebook and we are going to run this cell. We'll place our key here. So all our three keys are stored inside corresponding variables. Now we are just going to make it a part of the environment, of the OS environment. For that, we are just going to import OS and then we'll place OpenAI key and the Tavily API key inside the environment variables. But for OpenBB personal access token, we have to log into the account. Yeah, so for OpenBB, there is a different procedure which we need to follow because it is going to log into multiple providers. Okay, so let me just show you which all different providers we have here. Yeah, so if you just go to credentials, you can see that there are different providers which are available, and what OpenBB needs to do is it needs to log into each of them, right? So when I'm going to run this cell, what will happen is it is going to log into different providers. Yeah, once we have logged into OpenBB, now the next thing is we need to create different financial tools. And this is something which we have discussed while I was explaining the overall flow. So we have different tools which we are going to create, and these tools are nothing more than just functions. So these are just simple Python functions. We are creating these functions as tools. So we need a decorator function. Now that decorator function is something which is available inside LangChain core.tools. So we are going to import it from there. We are going to work with JSON requests. And then we are also going to work with TQDM, beautiful soup. Yeah, so these are some supporting packages which we need to import along with these important packages. Yeah. The next thing is we are just going to create an instance of Tavily search, and then we are going to define the different functions, the different tools as we call it. Yeah. So the first tool which we have is search web tool, and as you can see that it is simply doing a search using Tavily search API. It is going to fetch raw results for us given a query, and you can specify how many results you want to fetch from Tavily search, and whether you want raw content or you want the exact answer from the Tavily search, that also you can specify, right? Okay, so basically a tool is nothing but a Python function with a description. So this decorator @tool, it ensures that the agent understand whatever function name we are writing, it's actually a tool. It's not just a Python function, it's actually a tool, right? Likewise, we are going to create other functions as well. We are going to create a function get stock ticker symbol, because when we are going to make a query, we may not just pass the ticker symbol directly. We may just ask for the information for a given company, right? Yeah, so this function is going to help us find the ticker symbol for a given company. It is going to fetch that information from SEC provider. So this is a provider which is US Security Exchange Commission, and it is going to fetch the information from their website. Now, what exactly it is going to do with that? It is just going to convert that into a data frame, and that data frame can then be converted markdown, and then it can be returned as a string. So that's what is happening inside this get stock ticker symbol function or a tool, right? The next tool which we have is get stock price matrix, because we also need to get the information about the historical price, the stock price code, the price performance data, like the price changes for a specific stock ticker. For that, we are going to use different providers. So we are going to use CDOE. We are also going to use Finviz and Yahoo Finance. Basically, for price codes, we are going to use CDOE as a provider. For price performance, we are going to use Finviz. And for historical price movements, we are going to use Yahoo Finance. And again, OpenBB is what is making these things very simple for us. It is providing a standardized framework, standardized API for us, through which we are able to get these things done very easily, right? And the result is something which you are going to get inside a data frame, which can be converted into a markdown, and then it can be converted into a string, right? So this function is also done. The next function is get stock fundamental indicator matrix. So this function is also very important, because this is going to help us get the fundamental financial ratios like P ratio, ROE, and the provider which we are going to use for this is going to be Epin. Yeah. And again, we are going to use the same OBB interface for this, and it has many functions. So it has ratios, it can get ratios for you, it can get metrics for you, and all that information is something which can be stored inside a string and can be written from this function, right? Now the next very important thing is to get the latest information for a stock from the stock news, right? For that, we are going to use a provider which is TMX, and we are going to fetch the news information from the last 45 days. The last tool which we are going to use is going to be get general market data. So this function is going to provide you simple market data with indicators. So this is again a very important function. It is going to use Yahoo Finance API, but OBB again provides a wrapper for it, so it becomes again very easy for us to use it. So let's run this cell. So one by one, we are just going to run these APIs, right? So the first function which we are going to use is going to be the get general market data function or tool. This function doesn't take any input variable, so we are just going to pass an empty dictionary to it. Let's run this. And we can see that it is providing us the general market data. Yeah. The next one which we are going to use is going to be get stock ticker symbol. And we are going to get the ticker symbol for Tesla. Yeah, so we have been able to get the ticker symbol for Tesla, which is TSLA. Now let's try and get the price matrix for Tesla using this ticker symbol. Yeah, so these are the metrics which we are going to get. So we have the price quote matrix, we have the price performance, and we also have the historical data for Tesla. So far so good. Let's see the next tool, which is get stock fundamental indicator matrix. And we are again going to get it for Tesla. Let's see whether this function works or not. Oh, so basically this function is kind of not working at this moment, but we will see how to make it work. So please stay till the end of this video, and I'm going to show you how to configure this API in OpenBB platform so that this API also works. Yeah, but for time being, we are just going to go ahead with the flow, and we'll come back to this at the end of this video. The next function which we are trying to use is get stock news, and again this function is not working, so let's wait. Let's see what exactly we are going to do with this, how we are going to resolve these things. So the next thing is defining the agentic prompt for our agent, and it is a very, very important step, and that's why it has been divided into multiple steps. Yeah, So I'll be sharing this notebook with all of you. So you will be able to look at this prompt. I'm not going to go inside this, but I'm just going to show you what all things are included. So it has a role, it has an objective, it has the different kind of capabilities it is going to have. Then we are also going to define the two flows which we have talked about at the starting of this video, flow 1, flow 2. And then we are also going to write some information related to the information retrieval, that what kind of information it has to retrieve from different tools. And then we are also providing some information related to how it has to generate the response. Yeah, and then we are also providing some examples, some interactions, so that the agent understand that what kind of questions could be asked by the person who is going to use, right? Fine. So the next thing, we are just going to check how many tokens we are going to consume when we are going to pass this agent prompt to large language model, which is OpenAI. We are going to see, so we are going to see how many tokens it is going to consume. And we have to make sure that we don't cross 128 context window, which is the context window for GPT-4o model. Yeah. So let's run this. And as we can see, we are not even close. We are just going to consume 754 tokens at this point of time. So now we have come to a stage where we can actually create our financial agent bot. For that, there are some key steps which are mentioned here. You will get this notebook, so don't worry about these things. I'm just going to explain these things in simple manner. And if you're interested, you can also go ahead and watch my previous video where I explain how to create a tool use agent. So this is just going to be an extension of that agent. Yeah. Let's do some imports. We are going to import annotated chat OpenAI because we need large language model, base message, type deck. So don't worry about these things. This will get clear. Yeah. So when we are creating a agent in Langgraph, what we basically need is we need a state, because it's a stateful agent which we are trying to create. It knows and it holds the state, and this state could be just a list of messages, and that's what is going to happen here. Here our messages is just a list of messages, nothing more than that. It is just a list of messages, and these messages could be a human message, it could be a AI message, or it could be a system message. So we are going to initialize state graph with a state as an input inside it. So what we are saying here is we are initializing our graph builder with a defined state, and that state is just going to store a list of messages. Yeah. The next thing is we are just going to define our different tools. We are just going to store it inside a list of tools. We are going to initialize our chat OpenAI, our large language model basically, and then we are going to bind our tools, whatever tools which we have created, to the large language model. And then we are going to create a simple system message which is going to contain our agent system prompt which we have created just a while back, right? Now this agent is going to have a node which is going to talk to the large language model. This node is nothing but a function. Okay, so we are going to define this chatbot node. It is going to process the user input and it is going to generate the responses for us. It could be a tool message or it could be the final answer as well, right? So this function is just going to take the state as an input, and then it is going to pass these messages, whatever messages we are getting from the state, it is going to be passed to the large language to get the response from that. Okay. Now in between we are using trim messages. Now this is something which again I explained while I was explaining the different components of the bot. So this trim messages is used just to make sure that we only keep the last 127k tokens in the messages, because GPT-4o is having a context window of 128k tokens. So you don't want to exceed that. Okay, you just don't want to exceed that, and that's why we are using trim messages function, which is going to trim our messages to a maximum of 127,000 tokens. Yeah, that is the usage of this trim messages function. Now we will start adding nodes to our graph. So the first node which we are going to add to our graph is going to be the chatbot node. The second node which we are going to use is going to be the tool node. For that, there is a utility which is being provided by Langgraph, which is tool node, where we can pass in the list of tools which we have created here. Yeah, which we have created here. We are just going to pass those tools as an input to the tool node, and it is going to create a node for us. Okay, and that node is something which we are going to add to the graph, right? So basically this is almost the last step which we need to do. We need to connect the chatbot and the tool in such a way that if the chatbot says that a tool needs to be called, it is going to go to the tool node. But if the chatbot realizes, if the large language model realizes that it need not call a tool, it is just directly going to go to the end node and provide us the end result. That's going to happen by using a conditional edge. So we are going to add a conditional edge from the chatbot using this tools condition. So this is again a function which is a pre-built function which we have imported here. And it is going to choose whether to go to the tools node or to the end node based on what this function returns. So if this tools condition returns that it has to go to the tools node, it is going to go, the control is going to go to the tools node. Otherwise, the control is going to go to the end node. And finally, we are going to connect the tools node back to the chatbot because we want our tools messages, what are output from tools which we are getting, we want those output to be passed through the chatbot so that the chatbot can actually take the next action. And finally, we are going to set the entry point of our agent to the chatbot. And finally, we are just going to compile the graph, and let's look at how the graph looks like. So this is how our financial AI agent is going to look like. Financial analyst cum advisor agent is going to look like. And now let's test this agent. Yeah, so we are going to pass in some messages to it. We will see what kind of a response we are getting from it. So the first message I'm going to pass to it, I'm going to ask for the ticker symbol. So what is the ticker symbol of NVIDIA? Yeah, so the ticker symbol of NVIDIA is NVDA. Now this is something which is coming directly from the chatbot. Okay. Yeah. Now if we have to understand that whether this is coming from the tool message or it's coming from the large language model directly, we have to print the tool messages as well in between. Yeah. So not just the final response, we also need to print out the tool messages as well. So we have to print out all those things, and for that we have just created a simple helper function. Yeah, and this time when I'm going to run this function, it is also going to show us the tool messages as well. And as you can see that it is actually providing us all the information. Yeah, so the first message which we have passed to the agent was how is NVIDIA doing, and it is worth investing in it or its competitors. So basically the chatbot is going to think, it is going to do multiple steps, it is going to follow a flow, and then it is going to give our market insights and then finally a recommendation. So it's just giving a recommendation that conduct thorough research and consider market conditions, company fundamentals and your own risk tolerance before making investment decision. But the consideration is that NVIDIA has a strong performance over the past year with 30% increase. However, the recent trend indicate a decline over the past month, and we all know why that happened. It was because of the introduction of DeepSeek. Yeah. Now let's ask another question which is related to the PE ratio of NVIDIA. So let's see what we get. Okay, so what you will notice here is, though this API is failing, get stock fundamental indicator matrix is failing, the other function is being called, which is search web. Okay, so this is like a contingency plan which has been created by the chatbot in deciding if this particular function is not working or a particular tool is not working, what exactly it can do next to get that information. So the next possible thing is just search the web and get the information. Okay, so that's exactly what the agent has done here. because this tool was not working, it has gone ahead and it has done a web search to find that information, and it has been able to get that information from the web, right? Yeah, so that's what the agent is going to do. It is a smart agent. It is not just going to follow a simple flow. Rather, it is also going to think what next it can do to resolve that particular thing, how to get an answer with the available tools it has, right? So it is just going to try out what is the next tool it can use, and it is not just going to use any tool. It is going to think that what is the next best option it has in terms of using a particular tool, right? Yeah. Now, as I promised that this is something which we are going to see at the end of the video, let's see how exactly we can configure FMP API key. So we will go to this website and we are going to sign up. Okay, I've already signed up. So I'm just going to do a sign in. So basically we are going to go to the dashboard, and then here a key is already being created for us. Okay, so we'll just copy this key. We have to update this key inside OpenBB platform. Yeah. So we have an option to feed in FMP API key here. So we'll go ahead and we'll place the key here. We'll save it. And we'll have to regenerate the token now. Okay, so I'm just going to regenerate the token. I'll copy it. I'll go back. I'll reconfigure the FMP token. My bad, OpenBB token. Now let's just run this. Save it. And then we also need to log in. Okay, now when I'm going to run this cell, when I'm going to ask questions related to financial metrics, it is definitely going to provide us some information. Let's try it out. Okay, and as you can see, earlier this function was not working, but now this function is working. It is providing us the PE ratio. It is also providing the EBITDA and different kind of ratios it is able to provide us, right? Yeah. Now let's go back. We will go back to our query. Yeah. So I think this is where it was failing. So what I'll do is I'll just run this cell again, and this time what you'll notice that it is not fetching the information from searching the web. Rather, it is going to fetch the information directly from that get stock fundamental indicator matrix tool, right? Yeah, so the PE ratio for Intel Corporation is coming out to be 24.85, which is accurate. Yeah, and let's try this thing out. Yeah, so here also, as you can see, that it is not searching for web at this moment. The PE ratio for NVIDIA is coming out to be 39.57, which is absolutely correct. Okay. Now, what you can do is, if we integrate memory inside this agent, we will also be able to ask questions like what is better or which is better, whether NVIDIA is better or Intel. Okay. Okay. So now the last thing is, let's do a comparative analysis between two stocks. So NVIDIA and Intel. So let's get the detailed information of how NVIDIA and Intel are doing and do a comparative analysis of which stock might be better. And we are going to ask our financial analyst agent for this. And let's run this. So it is going to first find the ticker symbol for NVIDIA and Intel. Then it is going to identify which tool to call. So it is trying to get the fundamental indicator matrix. Yeah. And after doing a lot of analysis, it has come up with the comparative analysis for us. So growth and profitability, Nvidia shows strong growth and profitability metrics with high returns on equity and profit margin. Intel, on the other hand, is currently experiencing negative growth and profitability. So this is the kind of analysis you will be able to do with this agent. So thanks for watching the video. That's it from my end. Please do like and subscribe if you like the content, and follow for more details.